Chapter 2. It was called the Kallias Sage Liu, the city of glowing crystal of Birchest, and it had been one of the most spectacular wonders of the galaxy since the earliest days of the Old Republic. The entire city was nothing more or less than a single gigantic crystal, created over the eons by saltile spray from the dark red-orange waters of the Lefari Sea that roiled up against the low bluff upon which it rested. The original city had been painstakingly sculpted from the crystal over decades by local Birchestian artisans, whose descendants continued to guide and nurture its slow growth. And somewhere in all that serene beauty was something far more dangerous than mere Imperial stormtroopers, a group of clones. Or so New Republic intelligence thought. Painstakingly sifting through thousands of intercepted Imperial communiques, they tentatively pinpointed Kallias and the Birchest system as one of the transfer points in the new flood of human duplicates beginning to man the ships and troop carriers of Grand Admiral Thrawn's war machine. Luke reached out toward them with the Force. One quick check was all it took. The traitors did not have the strange aura he'd detected in the boarding party of clones that had attacked them aboard the Katana. But even as he withdrew his consciousness, something else caught Luke's attention. Something he had almost missed amid the torrent of human and alien thoughts and sensations that swirled together around him like bits of colored glass in a sandstorm. A coolly calculating mind, one which Luke felt certain he'd encountered before, but couldn't quite identify through the haze of mental noise between them. And the owner of that mind was in turn fully aware of Luke's presence in Kallias, and was watching him. A couple of meters to his left was the entrance to the long arched tunnel of a pedestrian bridgeway. Turning down it, Luke stepped up his pace. "It's all right. We're alone. Come on out."
I see the universe hasn't run out of ways to surprise me. From the way you were acting, I thought you were probably a spy from the New Republic. But I have to admit, you're the last person I would have expected them to send. You don't trust me, do you?
Must be Han's influence. His or yours. Or maybe Mara's.
Speaking of Mara, how is she?
Nearly recovered.
I appreciate you taking care of her.
You heading anywhere in particular?
Wandering the city, and hoping to see a familiar face or two, or 3, or 4, or 5.
I don't suppose you have any information I could use.
I might. Do you have enough money to pay for it?
Knowing your prices, probably not. But I could set you up a credit line when I get back.
If you get back. Considering how many Imperial troops there are between you and safe territory, you're not what I would call a good investment risk at the moment. I'm not part of your war, Skywalker. I'm neutral, and I intend to stay that way. I don't particularly like the idea of Grand Admiral Thrawn having access to a cloning facility. It has the long-term potential for shifting the balance of power in his favor, and that's something neither of us wants to see happen. But I think your side is rather overreacting to the situation.
I don't know how you can call it overreacting. The Empire has most of the 200 dreadnoughts of the Katana fleet, and now they've got an unlimited supply of clones to crew them with.
Unlimited is hardly the word I would use. Clones can only be grown so quickly if you want them mentally stable enough to trust with your warships. 1 year minimum per clone, as I recall the old rule of thumb.
What would you say if I told you the clones who attacked us on the Katana were grown in less than a year? The full cycle was 15 to 20 days.
What? That's impossible. There must be an error.
I can get you a copy of the studies.
At least that explains Yukio.
Yukio?
2 days ago, the Imperials launched a multiple attack on targets in the Abrian and Tufilvian sectors. They severely damaged the military base at Ord Padron and captured the Yukio system. My sources tell me it was taken with its shields and ground space weaponry intact. Tell me what started your people looking at Callias.
I'll do better than that. How about if I confirm the clones are here?
Where?
They're moving. Heading almost toward us. But not quite.
Probably being taken to the landing field. They'll probably use Mavericks Street. 2 blocks that direction. I wish I had some macro binoculars with me. Trust me, you're conspicuous enough as it is. Any sign of them? They're definitely coming this way.
I guess 20 to 30 of them.
A cargo carrier, then. That's them. All right. Watch closely. They might have left one or more of the ventilation panels open.
It was them. I'm sure of it.
All right. What now?
I'm going to see if I can get my ship off planet ahead of them. If I can track their hyperspace vector, maybe we can figure out where they go from here. Though 2 ships working together could do a better track.
You'll forgive me if I decline the offer. Flying in tandem with a New Republic agent is not exactly what I would call maintaining neutrality. At any rate, I think I'd prefer to try backtracking them from here. See if I can identify their point of origin.
Sounds good. I'd better get over to the landing field and get my ship prepped.
I'll be in touch. Make sure that credit line is a generous one.
That was him, all right, Fingal. No doubt about it. Luke Skywalker himself.
Do you suppose he saw the special transport?
Well, of course he saw it. You think he was hanging around Mavericks Street for his health? I want you to send a message to the Imperial Star Destroyer Chimera. Code it as per the instructions here. Inform Grand Admiral Thrawn that Skywalker has been on Callias, and that I have personally observed him near the special transport. Also, as per the Grand Admiral's directive, he has been allowed to leave Burchest unhindered.
Yes, Governor. What about the other man, Governor? The one who was with Skywalker down there?
The other man is of no importance. A special agent I sent to help smoke the rebel spy into the open. Forget him. Go on. Get that message coded and sent.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 3. Slowly, as if climbing a long, dark staircase, Mara Jade pulled herself out of a deep sleep. She opened her eyes, looked around the softly lit room, and wondered where in the galaxy she was. It was a medical area. That much was obvious from the biomonitors, the folded room dividers, and the other multi-position beds scattered around the one she was lying in.
Oh, hi, Mara. How are you feeling?
Not too bad.
Where are we?
The old Imperial Palace on Coruscant. Medical wing. They had to do some reconstruction on your neural pathways. Don't you remember?
There was only one person who could possibly have found a single crippled ejector seat in all the emptiness and battle debris out there. Luke Skywalker. The last of the Jedi Knights.
You will kill Luke Skywalker.
I see you're awake. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. Sorry. I guess I'm still a little disoriented.
Understandable. You've been lying in that bed for a month, after all.
A month?
Well, most of a month. You also spent some time in a Bacta tank. Don't worry, short-term memory problems are common during neural reconstructions, but they nearly always clear up after the treatment.
What's been happening with the war during the last month?
Oh, the Empire's been making the usual trouble. Akbar and Madian and the rest have been running around like crazy, trying to push him back or cut him off. Something like that.
Wait a minute.
Akbar's back in command? You mean you've cleared him already? That suspicious bank deposit thing Counselor Phalia made such a fuss over was a complete fraud. The guys who did that electronic break-in at the bank planted it in his account at the same time. Probably Imperial intelligence. It had their nose prints all over the programming. Oh, sure. I proved that 2 days after I got here. I imagine they were pleased. So why are you still here? Well, there's this really neat encrypt code someone nearby is using to send information to the Empire. General Bel Iblis says the Imperials call it Delta Source, and it's sending them stuff right out of the palace. And he asked you to slice it for them.
Hello, Mara. My name is Winter, personal aide to Princess Leia Organa Solo. I'm glad to see you on your feet again.
I'm glad to be there. I take it you're my guide?
Your guide, your assistant, and anything else you need for the next few days?
I don't need an assistant, and I don't need looking after. All I really need is a ship.
I've already started working on that. I'm hoping we'll be able to find something for you soon. In the meantime, may I show you to your suite?
That's very kind of you. How long have you been with Organa Solo?
I grew up with her in the royal court of Alderaan. We were friends in childhood, and when she began her first steps into galactic politics, her father assigned me to be her aide. I've been with her ever since.
I don't recall hearing about you during the height of the rebellion.
I spent most of the war moving from planet to planet, working with supply and procurement,
Winter told her.
If my colleagues could get me into a warehouse or depot on some pretext, I could draw a map for them of where the items were they wanted. It made the subsequent raids quicker and safer.
So you were the one called Targeter, the one with the perfect memory?
Yes, that was one of my code names.
So what's the problem with getting me a ship?
The problem is the Empire. They've launched a massive attack against us, and it's tied up basically everything we have available, from light freighter on up.
It's that bad?
It's bad enough. I don't know if you knew it, but they beat us to the Katana fleet. They'd already moved nearly 180 of the dreadnoughts by the time they arrived. Combined with their new bottomless source of crewers and soldiers, the balance of power has been badly shifted. In the past 5 days, we've effectively lost control of 4 sectors, and 13 more on the edge. The biggest loss was the food production facilities at Yukio. Somehow they managed to take it with its defenses intact. Captain Card left some of your clothes and personal effects for you after the Katana battle. If he missed anything, let me know, and I can probably supply it. Here's the data card.
Thank you.
Can I get you anything else?
No, I'm fine.
I'll be available later. Right now there's a council meeting I need to sit in on.
One of the few sections of the palace that the Emperor had left strictly alone during his reign. With its old-fashioned hinged doors and hand-carved exotic wood furnishings, walking around the floor was like stepping 1,000 years into the past. The Emperor had generally reserved the suites here for those emissaries who had fond feelings for such bygone days, or for those who could be impressed by his carefully manufactured continuity with that era. Mara took another deep breath of Fujisi wood, and with an effort, pushed the last of the lingering memories away. She was here, and it was now. And as the Emperor's instructors had so often drummed into her, the first item of business was to fit into her surroundings. Card had left a good assortment of clothing for her. The no-nonsense tunic/jumpsuit outfits that she usually wore aboard ship. She got dressed, then began sorting through the other things Card had left. With any luck, there it was. The forearm holster for her tiny blaster. The blaster itself was missing, of course. Fortunately, there was another way. Each residential floor of the Imperial Palace had an extensive library, and in each of those libraries, the blaster was a slightly different style from the one Mara had lost to the Imperials, but its power pack was still adequately charged. A stray question belatedly flicking through her mind. What had Winter meant by that reference to a bottomless source for crewers and soldiers? Fit snugly into her forearm holster, and that was all that mattered. It was something she should probably ask about sometime. First, though, she needed to get a message encrypted and relayed out to Card's designated contact. The sooner she was out of this place, the better. Replacing the empty data card set, the comforting weight of the blaster snugged up against her left arm, she headed back to her suite.
No. Completely out of the question.
No. What do you mean, no?
The word is self-explanatory. The military logic should be as well. We don't have the numbers for a frontal assault on Coruscant. Neither have we the supply lines and bases necessary for a traditional siege. Any attack would be both useless and wasteful, and the Empire will therefore not launch one.
Have a care, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I rule the Empire, not you.
Do you really?
I rule the Empire. You will obey me, or you will die.
If you kill me, you'll lose the war. And if you lose the war, Leia Organa Solo and her twins will never be yours.
You would never speak that way to the Emperor.
On the contrary. On no fewer than 4 occasions I told the Emperor that I would not waste his troops and ships attacking an enemy which I was not yet prepared to defeat. The first time I refused, he called me a traitor and gave my attack force to someone else. After its destruction, he knew better than to ignore my recommendations.
Grand Admiral Thrawn?
But as to Organa Solo and her twins, you can have them whenever you wish.
What do you mean?
I mean that attacking Coruscant and carrying off Organa Solo by brute force is impractical. Sending in a small group to kidnap her, on the other hand, is perfectly feasible. I've already ordered intelligence to assemble a commando team for that purpose. It should be ready within the day.
A commando team? Need I remind you how your Noghri have continually failed you in this matter?
I agree. Which is why the Noghri will not be involved. For now, all I need to know is whether Master Sabaoth is truly ready to receive his young Jedi, or whether he prefers simply discussing it.
The only question, Grand Admiral Thrawn, is whether newborn infants will be too much for your Imperial commandos to handle.
Very well. Our rendezvous with the rest of the fleet will be in 30 minutes. You'll transfer to the Death's Head at that time to assist in their attack on Wustri. By the time you return to the Chimera, we should have your Jedi for you.
But I warn you, if you fail me this time, you will not be pleased with the consequences.
It's always such a pleasure. We have to divert our increasingly arrogant Jedi Master from this mistaken notion that he has the right to rule my empire. Organa Solo and her twins are that diversion. And if the team fails, there are contingencies. Despite his power and even his unpredictability, Master Sabaoth can still be manipulated. What's even more important right now, though, is that we maintain our supply of clones. Mara Jade. She's convalescing on Coruscant. Would she have known about the storehouse? That is indeed the question. There's a good chance she doesn't. I knew many of the Emperor's secrets, and it still took me a great deal of effort to find Wayland. But it's not a risk we can afford to take. Will a single team be handling both missions, sir? Or will you be sending in 2? One team should be adequate. In the meantime, I think it's time to underline the importance of the Kalaya Sage Lilu for our enemies. Do we have a follow-up report yet from Governor Staffer? Yes, sir. Skywalker left at the same time as the decoy shuttle, and is presumed to have followed its vector. If so, he'll reach the Podaris system in approximately 30 hours. Excellent. One other thing, sir. There was a second follow-up to Staffer's original report, one that came in under an intelligence encrypt code.
From his aide Fingal. A man with Governor Staffer's casual loyalties practically begs us to assign him a quiet watchdog. Were there any discrepancies with the governor's report?
Just one, sir. The follow-up gave a complete description of Skywalker's contact, a man Staffer had indicated was one of his own agents. Fingal's descriptions wrongly suggest the man was, in fact, Talon Card.
Indeed. We can't have random smugglers buzzing around our deceptions and perhaps accidentally poking holes in them. And Card has already proved he can be a great deal of trouble.
But for now, we have other matters to deal with.
Prepare a course for the Podaris system, Captain. I want the Chimera there within 40 hours.
Admiral, what happens if we get Organa Solo and her twins for Sabayoth, and he's able to turn them the way he thinks he can? We'd have 4 of them to deal with instead of just 1. 5 if we're able to capture Skywalker at Podaris.
There's no need for concern. Long before any of that occurs, we'll have come to a suitable arrangement with our Jedi Master over the sharing of power in the Empire.